Greetings, everybody. I am Rigatonio al dente la dente, and welcome to Wolfinia. This is episode 252 of my Minecraft survival series, and in the last episode we began work on our storage system by not working on our storage system. Instead, we got all our haste beacons in around the storage system area and put in a mechanism that we can use to turn them on and off at will. And that should come in handy moving forward, especially since we do have to clear out a lot of area to get the redstone in for our new storage system. Now, most of the area we're going to clear out is going to be down here, but we're not going to start by just clearing out area, making room for the storage system. We have to start by getting rid of all the old redstone that's down here, reclaiming some of this material. And that's including all these redstone components, it's including hoppers, the ice for the water streams, all that mess has to go. And most, if not all of it, will be repurposed in creating our new storage system. And it's not just the bulk storage system that's going, it is everything related to our current storage system that is going. We got the bulk storage that we're going to be taking out, we've got the multi-item sorting system here that we're going to be taking out. Everything has got to go. And that is also including the original input for our storage system over here at the New Moon Mining Company, our little dropper right here. Ooh, it's a sad day. It's the end of an era. Now, I don't want you to think we're tearing everything out. This area is still going to be here. It's still going to be a part of the storage system. We're just going to be changing up how we do things around here. And I'm not going to get too deep into it because you're going to start to see everything come together here, hopefully, over the course of the next few episodes. But that's not what we're focused on today. What we are focused on today is just tearing out the old and making room for the new. So at this point, let's go ahead and call the drone on over here, put on a little bit of music, and tear out this redstone. Welcome back, everybody. Ow. I gotta admit, tearing this out hurt my heart a little bit because, I don't know, back when we put this in, I was so proud of it, and now it's just all gone. But it needed to happen. Owie. It needed to happen to make room for our new and improved storage system, which will be bigger, it'll be better, and it will be a lot more easily accessible, which is a key thing. Hopefully I didn't break any of my redstone that crisscrosses through here, like any of our non-storage system redstone, because, I don't know, my redstone's a mess. You guys know that. I've got lines crisscrossing all over the place. I'm sure if there is any problem, we'll find out eventually, though. But right now, we are doing pretty good. Now, I'm not going to continue to carve out this area yet to make room for the new redstone. I'm going to take a little break from all this for just a little bit. Well, to be more specific, I'm going to give my pickaxes a break. I'm not going to take a break, because I got work to do. I think we're going to start here at the beginning, and by the beginning I mean the item input for our storage system. And because I don't want items flowing all throughout the storage system, or at least what we have in of the storage system so far, I am going to go ahead and block off the path that the items would take to get there, just so we can focus solely on the item input for now and make sure we get that right before we go on to anything else. Now, first things first, we're going to want to convert all of these single chests that got broken during the dimensional shift back into double chests. But now that's taken care of, we can go ahead and test this thing out. So, if you'll remember, we can throw non-stackable items in this storage system, and they will get separated from the stackable items that we can also throw in this storage system. And that is the first bit of sorting to take place. Now, I don't hear any sorting happening. My non-stackable should go that way. But they don't appear to be going anywhere because my non-stackable filter is not working. That's fine. We can fix that. So what I ended up doing is installing a new non-stackable item filter right here. And this kind of works the opposite way that our previous non-stackable item filter worked. For instance, if we were to put in some non-stackable items like my tools here and some stackable items, this system will separate those from each other and send them off in different directions. The stackable items now go this way, which is the way our non-stackables used to go. Meanwhile, our non-stackable items are now down in here. And this works. You know, it separates the items perfectly. That's what I need it to do. We will have to set up clocks and run new like water streams and stuff like that just to get the items to where they need to be. But that's easy enough. For right now, I'm only going to focus on the water streams for the stackable items. We'll address the non-stackables a little bit later. I'm thinking for the stackable items, though, we'll probably want to get rid of this blue ice we have right here because it's kind of unnecessary for what we're doing. And we'll go ahead and replace that with packed ice, since that's what we're going to be using for a lot of our item transportation here, because it's much more readily available, easily accessible, and the blue ice, honestly, is just better utilized in other places. All right. So water stream from the item input to the first part of our storage system is now complete. I changed out our clock over here. That way it spits the items out at a slower rate that we could control, just to make sure we're not overburdening our system anywhere, right? So as far as how fast this goes, it is much slower than it was previously, but that'll work. Crap, that's going upstairs into the store. You know what? That's fine. That's fine. So we got this stackable item sorted out, but what about the non-stackable items? The non-stackable storage system is over this way, and you can see this water stream actually goes over there, but the water stream goes all over the place in order to get over there. And to be honest, I didn't like this when I put it in. I think I like it even less now. It's just too disorganized for what is supposed to be an organizational project. So I think at this point, what I'm going to do is just tear out this existing water stream, and we will replace it with a new one, a new non-stackable item water stream, once I actually figure out how I want to route it, once we have room to route stuff how I want to route stuff. And that should just about do it. The water stream to our non-stackable item storage has been removed, all aside from the bubble vader here, which we're going to leave in place because ultimately we're just going to drop that down once we figure out where our water stream is actually going to be. So that is it for this, but now I want to go ahead and make my way back to the item input because that's what I told myself I was going to be working on. Now, a major component of our item input here is our Shulker Box Unloading system, which not only unloads items for us, but breaks our Shulker boxes and returns them to us and also resets the system. Now, that does not seem to be working at the moment. And it seems like that might be something we're going to want to address before moving on. So I'm thinking what's probably going on here that we didn't have before the dimensional shift is some quasi-fragilistic connectivity happening, right? But now that we know what the issue is, it should be easy enough to account for. So basically, all we really need to do is make sure we can lock these hoppers right here when we need to. And that would also activate this piston right here, which in turn would activate all our other pistons responsible for breaking our Shulker boxes. So this is going to be a little bit bulkier than our previous version, but as long as it works. I hope it works. Let's see. So we got our extension, that's good. And we also have our retraction, that's perfect. All right. Let's go ahead and test this thing out. So, I've got 3 empty Shulker boxes here because we already know it unloads items, right? We don't have an issue with that. But we need to make sure we can break these Shulker boxes and have them returned to us here rather than going through our storage system. And how we're going to manage that is by locking this line of hoppers right down here. I'm trapped in here now, aren't I? Yes, I am. Alright, where was I? We were talking about the Shulker box return system, right? So if we were to break our Shulker boxes, they would then travel along this hopper line right here and ultimately end up in this barrel rather than the storage system along with a free bed. Which is wonderful. I love sleep. I'm also going to go ahead and start changing up our indicator light system here, because the one we had in here before, just not as robust as I wanted it to be. It was only reading from one hopper on each side, and that was not giving us a clear indication of when we were and weren't unloading items in other hoppers, right? So I do want to make sure that we get that taken care of, just so we know when we are unloading stuff, when we're not unloading stuff. That way our barrel, our Shulker box return barrel, doesn't ever end up filling up with a bunch of junk. So moving on to phase 2 of testing. This Shulker box has stuff in it. That stuff is currently being unloaded as indicated by our indicator lights here. And the items coming out of the Shulker box are making their way up into the storage system, which is not operational as of yet. We will address that eventually. But now the indicator lights are off, which means our Shulker box is empty, which means we can go ahead and pull this switch and the Shulker box will get broken. It will get returned to us in our barrel here, along with more free stuff. I really should check this thing before I start filming. Now, on top of our Shulker Box Unloader, we also have a manual input for items, and that is going to be these chests along the back here, which is not going to be faced like that. It is going to be this way. I think that should be good. I don't think we have any redstone connecting to it, locking up any of the hoppers, or anything like that. Yeah, we should be good to go. All right, so if we were to throw in, let's say, some barrels over here and some sandstone over here, that means the barrels and sandstone should now be making their way into the storage system. There goes our barrels. There goes our sandstone. Wonderful. All right, we did the grindy a little bit earlier. We did some redstone just now, and I think before we get back to the grindy, we're going to go ahead and do a little bit of building. So we're going to stick with our item input. I want to dress it up and make it look presentable. I don't know if presentable is the right word. This might still be ugly by the time I'm done with it. But I don't want it to look like just a basic piece of redstone machinery. You know what I'm saying? So, I do have an idea of what I want to do here. I think at this point, we're just going to go ahead and call the drone on over, put on a little bit of music, and get to work. Ow. Welcome back, everybody. That is a big wall of chest. This is what I actually wanted to show you, our item input. And this thing actually ended up being a lot more expensive than I was initially thinking it would be. Because I planned to use a lot more deep slate than I ultimately ended up using. I planned to use more spruce than I ended up using. And I planned to use no copper initially, but as you can see, we used a lot of copper. I figure that's okay because this is an important part of Wolfinia. This is an important part of our storage system, and it's worth the added expense. Now, we're not going to leave this pristine because, as you can see, we got some oxidization here. We're going to keep the oxidization and the weathering that occurs to this thing. I'm going to try to capture it in various states of weathering and oxidization as time goes on, because over time, this thing is going to get a lot of use, and I feel like the look of it should just kind of reflect that, right? Because I don't have time to go around polishing this thing up all the time. There's so much to do around here. I am a busy man. I don't have time to maintain my equipment. Now, redstone-wise, the next thing we should probably work on is the redstone for our building block storage here. But we're not going to work on that today because I know some of you can only take a little bit of redstone at a time, and that's fine. We did some redstone today, we did some building today, we did some grinding earlier. What I'm actually in the mood to do, now that we've got this thing in a state I'm happy with, now that I have a good idea of what I want to do elsewhere with the storage system, is get back to grinding, because we do need to carve out some space down here for our future redstone that is going to make up a big chunk of this storage system. Now, as far as how much area we're actually going to carve out, I have a pretty good idea of how deep I need to go. Length and width I'm not as clear on, but I am of the opinion that it's better to have more room than not enough, right? Another point in favor of clearing out more space than we actually need to is, I just want to kind of see this thing at work when it's working. I want to see items moving around. I want to see stuff getting put away, and I want a clear line of sight. That way I can take it all in and bask in my own glory. I don't think I ever actually explained what I'm doing right now. Let me go ahead and explain what I'm doing right now. I'm just kind of cutting a line throughout the ground here just to see where we need to cut, try to make sure everything's wide enough, make sure everything's big enough to fit in everything we need to fit in. Just kind of planning out what we're going to be cutting out. I think it'd also probably be a good idea to go ahead and make some changes to this thing as well. This is one of our villager transportation tunnels that we used to get villagers throughout Wolfinia. I'm thinking we might have to divert the path this way and then have it meet up with that section of tunnel over there. Because as it currently stands, it's kind of hovering above an area where I'm planning on putting some redstone. And I do think that is probably very in the way. Yeah, you know what? If I think I might need to do it, might as well go ahead and do it, right? And as far as what remains of this, we'll just cut this out when we cut everything else out, right? I think that's what we're going to go ahead and do now. So, at this point, let's go ahead and call the drone on over here, put on a little bit of music, and get to work. Welcome back, everybody. At this point, we've got some space to work here. And the space we have should be more than sufficient enough to do what we need to do here. And I just love being able to fly around here underground. I think that's awesome. But we got plenty of room here. We've got plenty of room to get our redstone in, to get our item transportation water streams in. We've got plenty of room to route our items to the various storage locations around Wolfinia to put our items away where they need to be. Ow! You know what? It's been a while since I've gone through this many pickaxes in an episode. This is a return to form. And as far as incidental resources go, those resources that we didn't go after but got nonetheless, we got a pretty decent amount of iron to add to our stockpile. Now, when we come back next episode, we will likely be working on the redstone for this system right here. Now, I know there's other stuff we need to take into consideration. For instance, we have some new blocks available to us now, or at least blocks that are new to me, probably not new to you guys at this point since I'm slacking on exploring the update. But I have a pretty good idea of where we're going to put these blocks, even though I don't have any of them yet. Eventually, I will make my way out into the world. We will explore the update and collect what we need to collect. But, you know, I got priorities. I want this thing to get done. But that is going to do it for us today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please be sure to hit that little thumbs up button. That would mean a whole lot to me. And if you want to see more of Wolfinia, please remember to subscribe. But as always, I just want to thank you guys for hanging out with me today. I deeply appreciate it. And until next time, I am Gluteus Cosmos, and I will see you guys later.